Mike and Sandy's story, quite frankly, is pretty common in this day and age. We live in a culture of addiction. We live in a culture where marriages are absolutely collapsing. And I think it's fantastic that they are the positive exception. And at Faith Community Church, we are committed to seeing things change, one marriage, one life, one town at a time.
The Breakfast Club was a bunch of men who would hang out at a bar every morning. 8 o'clock, I'd drop my daughter off at school, and then I would go to the Breakfast Club. It was a bar, and I would meet my friends there. I would go there every morning, and I had this down pat. I never knew my wife knew, but my wife knew. I was there from probably 8:30 to 11:30. I would go home, and then I would, abuse different things, and knew I was already intoxicated when I got home. My wife would ask me to pick up the house and have dinner ready so she wouldn't be suspicious. And I'm thinking I'm really pulling one over on her. And she just told me she knew what was going on.
Unfortunately, when he drank, he was very abusive, verbally abusive. He never touched me, but verbally he was very abusive. My daughter did not quite understand, why Dad's so irrational. Why would his temper just flare at the top of a hat? Why would he scream all the time? Why would he just be so angry and upset all the time?
I look at myself in the mirror, an alcoholic. You're addicted to everything. And I mean addicted to everything. And I just told the Lord, I need your help.
I just couldn't take any more. And it was the first time, it was a typical Saturday, and he was always away from the house. He was always out drinking, and he had his favorite hangouts, and so I was pretty much always alone with my kids. And so one Saturday I just felt so broken, and I had had enough, and I'm like, I want to go someplace. And I'd always heard about this church, and we've always lived in the area, and I thought, I'm going to look up this church on the internet. And to my surprise, they had a Saturday 6:30 service, and I'm like, I want to go check it out, So I went, and I just started to cry. It was just so touching to me. And so I came up, at altar call, and I was just telling him everything that I was going through and how I didn't want to leave my husband because I just loved him so much, but I just could not live anymore like this.
One thing that we can do as a church, we can be here for the spouse that's hanging in there, and her husband who would mess up, he knew he could come and he wouldn't get slapped around by us, that we would love him, accept him, and hold him accountable.
It was so interesting because I've always prayed that the Lord heal my marriage and heal him, because he was such a good man. I didn't want to leave him. I would come on Sundays or Saturdays by myself, and 2 months later he followed me.
I found the part of my heart that the first day I ever heard the pastor talk, he floored me. I knew this was the place. These people talk my language here.
It's been amazing how the Lord's working in his life. It's just amazing. I mean, I never thought I was going to be sitting here on Sunday mornings next to my husband.
I thank God for who's come into my world is my wife. My wife's my angel. I know she's forgiven me, and the only thing that makes that so real is that this man up here has forgiven me. That's what makes me get up every day to put on the shoes and go to battle.
We're still adjusting.
Yeah.
The Lord we still have to ask for a lot of prayer. You figure there's been a lot of pain, there's been a lot of hurt, there's been a lot of conditioning. There's been on both sides. Pretty much we're like honeymooning, if you really think about it. I mean, the 20 years, I'm serious. It's a different chapter in our life, and so we're adjusting to that.
All I want to do now is just lead my family through the eyes of the Lord and just be the leader that I should be. Small steps for me, which will lead to leaps for me down the road.